Hey everyone, Chad Rosenma here, and on this week's edition of Racing Around the World presented by HPIbet, we've got more Derby preps to have a look at. We're also going to be heading back to the Big M for a very competitive race on Friday night. We've got trainer comments. We've got a lot of fun. Even Porty is rolling some pennies for the bankroll segment. We've got that and much more coming up right now on Racing Around the World. Welcome to week 2 of Racing Around the World presented by HPIbet. I'm Rosie. That man right there is Porty, my good friend. How are you, my man?
I'm doing well. I can't wait. This is actually your big weekend because Saturday, your birthday, happy early birthday. We have a phenomenal weekend again of racing. And then we got the O'Brien Awards on Sunday night to wrap it all up. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. Well, we've got plenty on the go here through HPIbet. You know what? It makes me feel like when I was a kid and I'd be in the grocery store in that cereal aisle and you were just in awe at the options. Tough to choose. Luckily, I had parents kind enough to allow me to pick a few options. But here it is for HPI. We start good and early, and we have got you covered throughout the entire weekend. You won't be bored. Let's put it that way.
100%. I mean, Cocoa Puffs, Fruit Loops, Cheerios, Corn Pops. Take your pick. Rosie, you know what? Grab an extra box because it's your day on Saturday. And I'm not even going to go to bed on the eve of your big day. I'm just going to stay up and then go right into Saturday. And that pick 6 carryover, they had to cancel on Friday at Santa Anita because of rain of all things. It's not supposed to rain in California, but there's a look at the number. $710,000 plus for that pick 6 carryover. I do believe it starts in race 3.
Yeah, wow. Some big money to play into, that's for sure. So a full slate of racing coming your way, and you talk about those graded stakes. Well, we've got more Derby preps. 13 of the 35 preps have been contested already in the U.S. We've got a pair of them coming up this weekend, the Holy Bull at Gulfstream, and then on the undercard, some good ones as well, including the Kentucky Oaks prep, the Forward Gal for those fillies. So 5 grade 3s at Gulfstream, and then on the West Coast, we've got a couple at Santa Anita. They had to, of course, reschedule some of their turf events with that rain, but they still have the Sand Pass Squall for $200,000, and then the Grade 3 Robert B. Lewis, which is a Derby prep with, I think, some high-level talent in there. And then, only fitting, in January, the Toboggan at Aqueduct. And then Sunday, more graded stakes on the weekend with the $300,000 Sam Houston Ladies Classic and the John B. Connolly Turf Cup as well for $200,000. So a couple of Grade 3s there on Sunday. So we've got lots to get into, and let's dive right into it. Let's head to Florida and talk Gulfstream Park and the Grade 3 Holy Bull, a race that was won last year by Is the Law. Well, he ended up going on to do some pretty decent stuff, but we've got a field of 9 here. Jason, what stands out to you?
Oh, man, a lot. You talked about it. 5 graded stakes events at GP, $600,000. In this field, 6 of the 9, Rosie, coming off victories. Willie Boy, you know, that 2-horse with Junior Alvarado aboard, back-to-back wins to start his career. Protected events, obviously the waters get a lot deeper. Papa 2 intrigues me. That was a solid second last time out in the Mucho Macho, man. Mutasabek just was a little bit too good. You got Pletcher in there as well with a couple of horses, a Mount as well as Prime Factor. We're going to lean on Safi Joseph for a comment a little bit later on with Awesome Jerry. Once again, Safi draws outside. It's not as bad as Post 12 with Math Wizard, of course, in the Pegasus, but Post 9 still is a little bit tough. And then Sitting on Go, the lone stakes winner of the field, kind of being ignored a little bit in the morning line, 5-1, making that 3-year-old debut. So this is a wide open event.
Yeah, Sitting on Go's already won a Derby prep, so he's got some points with that Iroquois victory back on Derby Day, or the revamped Derby Day of last year. And you talked about Pletcher. He's won this race a pair of times. He's got a pair of options in here, and both of them look good coming in, but one maybe a little more than the other. Prime Factor, he dazzled in his debut.
Wow. I mean, you cost $900,000 at the yearling sale. We're talking Keeneland. So you're supposed to look this good in your debut. And he's by Quality Road, who has 21 graded stakes winners. He's out of a Bernardini mare. And Bernardini, of course, won the 2006 Preakness. So the lineage is there. The arc chart, or the org chart, I should say, in terms of the family tree. Maybe he's on the arc one day, right? Maybe that's what I'm getting to. But yeah, this was so impressive. Just geared down. And Erad Ortiz says, I'm going to stay right here with this one. The works on the comeback trail look solid. This horse is kind of like the teammate Amount, because both, able to win their maiden outing at Gulfstream Park. Haven't seen the horse since. Both now getting their first try of 2021 as 3-year-olds. So, yeah, it's Pletcher, right? You got to include them in. Who knows just how good this horse could be? 3-1 on the morning line, but I'd be very surprised, Rosie, if this horse doesn't go off as the eventual favorite.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident he'll be the betting favorite in here. And I know that was only 3/4, but the way he did it, does he not scream like he wants more distance?
Oh, just did it so easily. And shut down, just cruise across the stripe. Well outside the 8th pole, Erad said, okay, I've seen enough. We got bigger fish to fry. And of course, this race, a stepping stone for the Fountain of Youth. And then we think about the Florida Derby after that.
Yeah, Erad fresh off of his Eclipse Award last night as top jock. Next door, a horse that's already proven going long, Greatest Honor for Shug McGahee.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you just look at the form here, just improving each and every start, and it culminated for his first win last time.
Yeah, and you know what? Some will say, well, it took him 4 tries, but those 3 maiden fields prior to this one were pretty solid. And in this race, what we didn't show you is that this horse got hampered. There was a spill. This horse got carried so wide, almost taken out of the race. So I know he had to grind and just keep grinding, and doesn't win like a 1-2 shot should. But for me, I think he's going to get a lot out of this race, confidence-wise. His buyers continue to improve. He's the only legit 2-turn winner on dirt. I say legit because some have won 2 turns on grass, but obviously we're racing on dirt here. So I really feel like, Jose's got a chance to upstage his brother. And that, we've seen that happen a time or two, and maybe it's an Ortiz exactly, but I love the way this horse is coming into the race for Shug, and I really feel like this horse, will enjoy, again, going around 2 turns, where with some of the others, we're just not sure. I think Greatest Honor, maybe 3-1, 3.5-1 has a big chance as well. This is a great race.
Well, let's get to business. All right, let's get to business. Let's talk about these horses. I know you're liking Greatest Honor. Prime factor for me here. I mean, I know I'm going to get a short price because, we're both confident he's going to end up being the race favorite. But just the way that he ran there and geared down, he just looked special. And these owners already excited because they are the same owners of Life is Good. And we've seen what that guy's been able to do on the West Coast pretty impressively. And we've got horses that are happy to dodge him later on when we talk to Robert B. Lewis. But Prime Factor's been working great. Even that January 2nd work, he got to work with a pretty good stablemate in Largent, who was a good second last week in the Pegasus Turf. And, it looked like it worked him, really. It looked fantastic. If you can find that video online, as I did, then you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. But, I like Prime Factor in here. But, for Greatest Honor, Jason, I know he's the morning line favorite, but, you might be looking at like a 3-1 price on him.
I think that'd be right. That's a square number. That's a square number. And you know what? I feel like nobody here should be too much of a low price because we just don't know. I mean, you take a look at the field and you got horses coming off maiden wins. You got one legit in terms of stakes, proven horse and sitting on go. And that one might be sort of, the dark horse. I can see this one going up maybe 6-1. And Corey Lannery had some options in here. Interesting to note, Luis Saez rode Greatest Honor in that last race. He opts for Amount, the other Todd Pletcher horse. And you know what, Chad? We've seen times where trainers got a couple in there, and it's the one that nobody's talking about that steps up and has a big effort. So we're going to find out about that. But just quickly, speaking of trainer Safi Joseph Jr., I called him up again this week, and I said, just give me a quick word on Awesome Jerry. And he said, you know what? He's pretty confident. I asked him about why he put the blinkers on in that last start. He said just, was losing focus going into that final turn. I just wanted him to, pay a little bit more attention. It worked out in that last race. I know that he finished 3rd. He got passed by a couple of horses, but Safi mentioned, the gallop out, he came back to pass those horses. Outside draw, not that detrimental. This guy's got some speed, so taking a shot here, and why not? Safi's, one of the top trainers in Florida every winter, and hey, he's got Tyler G aboard. You never know.
Well, that's Gulfstream. Let's go to another warm climate as we head to the West Coast for another Derby prep. In fact, 2,700 miles away is Arcadia. California, and that is Santa Anita, the site of the Robert B. Lewis Grade 3. Field of 8 in here, and pretty competitive, inside to out. I mean, you've got all these maiden winners, and you've got Spielberg on the outside, Jason, who, draws the outside, but he's already a graded stake winner. But now he's got to carry 4 pounds more than the rest of the field.
Well, it's the Bob Lewis, right? Named for the great owner. Silver Charm comes to mind. Of course, he owned horses with Baffert, and it's somewhat apropos that Baffert has won a record 8 of these, including 2 in a row. You said inside, outside. That's where we find Bob's horses. And, Medina Spirit, that was a solid closing second behind Life is Good. A little bit dressed up, in my opinion, because the last quarter was 25-2. Not that fast. Spielberg, okay. Lone stakes winner in the field. We've talked about that. Biggest buyer figure for him is an 83. So, that last start, he just barely got past the Great One, and the Great One came out of that race to, do some pretty good things. But I'm looking at this field, and Chad, I just really struggle because there are so many choices.
Well, and there's unknowns. I mean, who's going to take that next big step? Because I think a lot of them are certainly capable of it. It's going to be good. And even a horse that we're going to focus in on here, he's looking pretty good coming into this race. Wipe the Slate is his name, and we've seen this movie before. You've got Redham, you've got Gutierrez, you've got Doug O'Neill. They have had success in the past on this trail, and they look like they've got another star in the making here.
Nyquist comes to mind, and of course that horse went on to win the Kentucky Derby. In terms of this race, I'll have another comes to mind from 2012, and it's just the way he does it so professionally. Just sat, waited, and this is exactly what you want to see out of a horse in its second career start. First one, okay, sort of that getting to know you process. Got wiped by Life is Good. We've been talking about that horse quite a bit. So I really feel like wipe the slate now, buy that Derby winner. So you got good staying power on the top from Nyquist. Back in the day, he could sprint, he could go long. The mare had 1 win sprinting, so not much there. But you move up 17 points in terms of your buyer figure in that second start. Wipe the slate, for me, looks pretty good. Now, what did he beat that day? Affable in the next start. We talked about the Great One, kind of tongue-in-cheek because I said he came back to be okay. Well, the Great One won that race by 14 lengths, Chad, over Affable. So, wipe the slate looked good there. Was it, is it going to be good enough? We're going to find out. But you got a bunch of choices in here.
Yeah, O'Neill's won this race a pair of times. He's got those 2 options, Wipe the Slate and Hot Rod Charlie. They're close in the morning line odds, and I think they are going to be pretty close, come post time in the betting odds. And that's pretty incredible when you think one of them just came off a maiden win. The other one's, exiting a runner-up finish in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Yeah, it kind of feels like doubles all around because, O'Neill's got a pair, Baffert's got a pair, Sheriff's got a pair. Yep. The only singles are McCarthy, as well as, we'll get to the one that you like, Callahan's horse, Roman Centurion. So, I spoke to Doug O'Neill earlier this week, and we talked about his 2 horses, and you could just kind of feel the quiet confidence he has going into this race.
Kind of a boy in a man's body, if you will. He's always been a impressive individual, and I think he's just maturing with each workout and with a couple races under his belt. Like you say, his works have been really well. The work about a week ago, he went 112 and change at Santa Anita in the mornings, which is that's getting around there pretty good. And that was by himself as well. So he's got the talent and he's got the pedigree, and now it's just a matter of mentally, is he ready to relax on that first turn, save himself, and finish up? And if he is, I think he's going to have a big say in the outcome. I think with Hot Rod, more than anything, we're just looking for a big, strong effort that we can build off of, and he's coming in, off that, he hasn't run since the Breeders' Cup, of course, but he's had some good work. He's ready, but there's no replacing a race under their belt. So I'm optimistic for him and looking forward to seeing Joel on him and see if we can pick up where we left off.
All right, some great comments there.
Just going to mention quickly, Tyler Gaffalione was supposed to ride this horse, but because of COVID protocols, that's not the case. So Tyler obviously will be riding in Florida. So it's Joel Rosario that gets a call. That's not a bad replacement, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, things could be worse, that's for sure. So yeah, he's got a nice 1-2 punch in there. You talked about Baffert. Baffert's had a ton of success in this race too. He's won it 8 times. I mean, it's just incredible, and waiting to see when Life is Good will be out next. But we've got some others in here, and you already kind of led into my pick here. Roman Centurion, yeah. Jason. I like to try and take a shot. I know I'm not taking a shot in the first one, and this horse, I don't know how good he is. I mean, a bunch of these, I don't think we know exactly just how good they are. But fourth in the debut, far back, but he also had the debut against Life is Good. And he was only a couple of lengths back behind your horse, that being Wipe the Slate. But then he came out of that race, went long, had to carry 124 pounds. And just the way he did it, I love the big stride on him. He just gobbled up the ground and he won going away. Got a nice buyer of 80. So if he just continues to progress in the right direction, and hopefully can get some speed in here to chase, then I think Roman Centurion with Wander Nance got a big shot.
$550,000 purchase, so his horse is no cheapie. He was well meant, and you could be onto something here, and it's the way he did it, adding Lasix. Yeah, your horse wouldn't surprise me. I mean, to me, whether you're looking at East Coast or West Coast this weekend, the sophomore races are phenomenal. Chock full of opportunities. In terms of these guys in the Bob Lewis, their next step, they're looking forward to the San Felipe coming up on March the 6th. And then, of course, you got the Santa Anita Derby on April the 3rd. But, hey, a couple of races where I think you can go in several different directions. I'm going to go Wipe the Slate. I kind of tipped my hand there as to who I like. But Wipe the Slate, for me, I really feel like that last one may be just a sign of things to come. And he is a huge, huge horse. So stretching out, no problem in my opinion.
So Derby preps at a couple of great venues coming up on Saturday. Gulfstream, 11:45 a.m., 3:30 in the afternoon, those being Eastern times. That's for the Santa Anita post time. But we've got carts, as we like to call them. We'll go to our standardbred. And you know what? I talked about this earlier. Yeah, you know what? We'd love to see our own product, back racing. And hopefully it's very, very soon. Hey, when you don't have Mohawk Park, the next best thing is heading to Jersey and talking the Meadowlands. And how about Carmen Osceola? We've got some trainer comments coming up, but Carmen gave us 2 best bets, Jason, last week. And both won, paying $9.40 and $15.40. But what's even more incredible is how in the world did Buck Dancer pay $9.40?
You had to bring it up, right? You had to bring it up. I mean, you know what? It's a beautiful thing talking about stakes races, but sometimes there's no value. So I love the fact that we bring in these harness races. And we know this is not Grand Circuit time for the harness races, but to me, at the end of the day, it's all about the Benjamins. And yeah, Carm gave us 2 solid ones last week. Good on you for coming up with that interview. And I missed out. So maybe I'm a little bit late. So now I'm not going in his direction this week because I already missed out.
And this race, at first I looked at it, I thought it was maybe at Mohawk Park because we've got so many Mohawk Park horses in here. Then I thought, geez, is this down under? Look at all the New Zealand and Australian bred horses, 8 of the 10, in fact. But that's just how it's been. They've had so much success here in North America that more and more are being brought over here. And it's fun. It's exciting to see a lot of the great ones. But let's talk about one of these Mohawk Park horses and a Carmos Yellow horse. And Ivana Fly By, we're quite familiar with her. And she hadn't raced in nearly a month, similar to Points North. And here's what she did in that first race back. She was at, similar class level. She had post 9, Dexter Dunn in the bike. That's never going to hurt your chances. And you can see it making, a wide, quick move. They went fast fractions. This was an off track too. I mean, the half was 53 4, 22 3/4. But she made that, continued move, going 3 wide. And then down the lane, you'll see she ultimately maybe flattens out a little bit, but I think she had every reason to, having been away a few weeks, plus against this caliber. The runner-up in this race, by the way, ends up being She's None Better, who's been really solid. This is Stellenbosch. We know that one as well, winning the race.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think all in all, this was a pretty good primer for Ivana Fly By, and I mean, it's tough for me to back her because of the post, but I could totally see her coming up with a winning effort. But I do really think of Points North now. I think they're following a similar path here,
right.
Jim.
Yeah, and you know what? You like to see horses get one over the strip, right? So that was
Yeah.
not even a fast trip in East Rutherford, as talked about. Again, we're talking about a race that I think is absolutely wide open. I took a bit of a shot in here, but I could make a legit case for at least half the field, and I'm not exaggerating. I think it's wide open to interpretation. I think ultimately Tripp could decide the winner in this one.
Yeah, well, Lady De La Renta, we saw that was your pick
Yep.
that you like in here. I looked at her, and you know what? I'll tell you, she races pretty well off the qualifier. Historically, she's done quite well off the quali, and that's what she's going to have to do here tonight. My concern, Jason, she's never raced on a track bigger than a 5/8, and sometimes you just kind of need a start first.
Yeah, that bothered me because you see a lot of halves and five. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, and maybe down under though. I'm not sure where she raced on there. I mean, they got some bigger tracks there, so maybe. But some of those tracks out there are quite small as well because I, watched the races that going around like 3 times. But yeah, I'm just taking a bit of a shot. I'm hoping that you got the double qualifier. The last prep looked pretty good. I know it shows that the margin of victory was shrinking, but to me, it was a measured score there, and I really feel like that if it went around again, they weren't going to pass her. But taking a bit of a leap of faith here, just because I think it's a race where you should get a price, just because there are too many options.
Multiple winner at the top level at Yonkers, and we know they face good horses there. I'm going to go Double Delight Brigade next door, and there's question marks with her too because she's only raced here twice. She was one of those, that came in from down under, but she's raced well both times, so she's been able to acclimate immediately, really. But then now she's got a bit of a hiccup in the schedule because she had to miss some time due to sickness. Now, I did speak to Tom Fanning, and yeah, he just told me that, yes, you know what, she had to miss some time due to sickness. However, she trained very, very well this week. But again, with that being said, she's been off 3 weeks. So it's kind of a, what do we do? Maybe dive in with a little bit of caution. But I'm willing to think that she comes out and fires very, very well as long as she's healthy, which by the sounds of it, she is. So that's from Tom. We've got a couple other comments speaking to, obviously, Wade regular Blake McIntosh. He's, like Carmen's got a string in the States anyway, but even more horses now. And asked about Clear Idea, the most established performer in this race. She's got the rail. Said she's up in class, and this will actually be her last race. She's going to head to the Broodmare Band, and he's hoping she can go over the winner. He knows it's a tough task, but I thought she raced actually pretty well last time. And I like asking these guys who their best shot is because they've got multiple starters. Sports Column, race number 5 on Saturday. He actually thinks that's his best shot this week, and he was able to win last week, and he looked pretty good doing it. Well, I mean, usually look pretty good when you win anyway, but so those are some comments from Blake. Andrew Harris, he ends up picking up the Isaac Waxman pupil, the Bandit Queen. And you know what? He said she's a nice mare. She's got a really good demeanor. She's relaxed and will let Yannick do anything he wishes, which isn't always the case with these down under types. He said she may need a start to get fully tight. So I like the comments here. And then, funny enough, Jason, we've got the Bandit Queen, who's a Waxman horse, and other locals in here. He believes his best shot this week is postmodernism. Well, we know that's Bob McClure's charge.
Yes.
And she is in the 8th race on Friday. She's got an inside post. I think she's post 3 and appears fresh. And she's had some, outside posts in her first 2 starts there. I agree with him. I think tonight she's got a big opportunity on the Friday program. So, look out for postmodernism. So some great comments there. And, speaking of the Bandit Queen, Jason, I mean, Yannick, I think, can acclimate to anybody, but he actually drove her first 3 starts here at Mohawk Park.
Oh, good to know. Yeah. I mean, and you know what? We got to get back racing because they're stealing all our horsepower, as you can see. We're making their fields look better with our horses. And, you see Sly Eleanor comes to mind. You spoke of the Bandit Queen, Ivana Fly By. This is a perfect race for the bankroll, is it not? Just because it's tough. All the races we've talked about on this edition of Racing Around the World, presented by HPIbet, tough.
Bankroll segment. It's fun. Let's dial it up. And you know what's funny about this week, Jason? With the bankroll of 25, it appears they've actually found our real bankroll.
I need about 250.
I'm going to spend every last dime of this, and I've got an exacta. And I know you talked about it. You could use half the field. Well, I'm doing that and more, actually. I'm going to play it around my top pick, Double Delight Brigade, but I've got the 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10 in behind. and then just flip-flop, and I'll put those same 5 on top with her in second. So everything, surrounds Double Delight Brigade finishing in the top 2, and feel pretty good about one of those others finishing in behind. And then hopefully I can get somewhat of an okay price. If she races and gets 7-2 the morning line odds, I'll be happy with that, because I'm going to go right across the board with her, 5 across. But your 25, I know you were going to have a buck left, but then you said, no, I'm going to go all in with my chips here too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Lady is any relation to Oscar in terms of De La Renta, but yeah, I'm going to put this one on top. You can see the trifecta there. And ironically enough, it came out to $24. Now, back in the day, when I was a young kid and I was at the racetrack, and if I had $1 left, I was like, do I buy a bag of chips or a hot dog, or do I get a program for the next day? Always chose the program for the next day, would wait till I get home, and then I can always eat there for free. So I had $1 left over. I didn't save it. I'm just going to play a straight try because I did not include the Bandit Queen on that first trifecta ticket. So I'm going to play a cheeky straight trifecta of just 6, 5, and 9. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun this weekend to watch and see what actually unfolds.
Yeah, and if I could toss in one quick hot trainer stat, Kelvin Harrison, who sends out both the 5 and 8 in this Meadowlands race. Last year he sent out 33 winners all year. He already has 10, and we're not even quite through the month of January. So off to a great start in 2021.
As are we.
As are we. That's right. And let's just hope that we can cash some tickets this week. So much great racing coming up. We got to give big shout outs, of course, to all the trainers that chipped in with some help. Safi Joseph Jr., Doug O'Neill, Tom Fanning. We've got, of course, Andrew Harris and Blake McIntosh. And this whole thing, it happens with the man behind the scenes, Luke Van Belkom, doing it all. So our technical producer doing everything. Great job by him. But before I let you go, I know you mentioned we've got the O'Briens this weekend. We'll be crowning the best in Canadian harness action on Sunday with a virtual edition of the O'Brien Awards. You and Ken Middleton, of course, back as the 2 hosts, and I'm sure it's going to be a great show. But you and I both get a vote, Jason. I have no issue telling everybody I voted Pemberton as Horse of the Year. Are you willing to say who you voted?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I'm going to build the drama for Sunday night. That's all I'm going to say. But I will say this. Happy birthday. Again, enjoy your weekend. Your birthday weekend, all right? Enjoy it. And I'll reveal who I voted for after they won. How does that sound?
All right. Thank you. Anyway, have a good one, my man. Enjoy your weekend, and everybody enjoy your weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, you can watch and wager on all the action right through HPIbet.com and catch Racing Around the World presented by HPIbet every week on our social media platforms.